If you hear knocking as you're falling asleep, don't ignore it. Please, heed advice from someone who has done it and considers it to be the worst mistake of his life. It all started when I was 8 years old. I was a problem child, hyperactive, and enthusiastic rebel against any authority figure. It made perfect sense that my parents assumed that I was trying to make excuses not to fall asleep. After all, I had just kept them running along all day, disobeying every single one of their orders. But, I swear to you, the knocking was real. It always happened the moment I was drifting off to sleep. Not quite awake, but not quite asleep. Perhaps I could rephrase. The knocking didn't happen every night, but when it did, I was entering my sleep cycle. And it was always 4 quick raps on wooden surface. Knock, knock, knock. And the noise had always made me wake instantly. As you would expect from a little child, I would run out of my room out into the arms of my dismayed parents, who would drag me back to my bedroom and prove that there was nothing under my bed or in my closet. Eventually, I learned to ignore the knocking and just continue the process of trying to fall asleep. Yes, it was annoying checking outside my bedroom door just in case someone was actually knocking, but I was able to quickly fall asleep. As I said, I had always been hyperactive. To this day, I cannot consume caffeine because it drives me over the top energy and anxiety. Hence, my parents largely ignored the unexplained cuts and bruises on my body. They often scolded me for being so careless, but I ignored my protests of not being able to remember how the injuries happened. As I grew older, the cuts and bruises continued to occur, despite me not playing outside anymore. I went to see my doctor, and she likely said I had sensitive skin, which bruised easily. I didn't know what could explain the cuts that are fresh on my arms and legs when I got out of bed, but whatever explanation was there. In college, I found my first girlfriend. Kristen was intentionally alarmed with my injuries, but understood once I told her it was because of my weak skin and not because I was self-harming psycho. We had been together for 3 weeks until I heard the familiar knocks while laying next to her. She didn't stir, so I didn't bother checking the door like I usually do. The last thing I needed was her questioning my sanity. She was the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. I loved her. I rolled over and drifted off to sleep. The giant beast grabbed me by the arm and yanked me into the cold, wet ground. The pointy rock edges scratched my naked back, and sharp pain pierced through my body. "You are finally time on day, babe," she snarled as she dragged a hairy paw over my chest, inserting all 4 of her 4-inch claws into my skin. Her pungent odor suffocated me as I was begged to get her to let me go. "Not today, babe. We have all the time to go all the way today. It's a very special day," she said. Stood about 9 feet tall. She must have weighed so close to 1,000 pounds. Undoubtedly, I would get squashed like a bug under her weight. The paw moved over to fondle my lower, more intimate regions, and the ogre-like face leaned forward to kiss my lips. Stickly drool will drip down to the sides of the monster's mouth into her chin, as the deep purple lips parted to reveal a blood-red snake tongue eagerly shifting into anticipation of tasting me. The hot, stinky breath made me almost vomit, and the gruesome creature drew even closer. I twisted and tried to escape from her grasp, but the powerful claw clamped down onto my pelvic region, pinned me to place. I screamed in agony, as to my captivator smiled, her tongue inching forward to enter my mouth. Suddenly the word of us began to shake. The beast slid out off of me, as she was about being lifted away by a mighty force. "No!" she bellowed, desperately trying to throw her paw out to recapture her prey. Her sharp claws sliced my face as she faded away, shaking as intensifying. "Wake up, Scott!" Skirt shaking me awake. "You're having a night." Her voice was trailed off as I turned around in cold sweat to face her. Her face turned pale and white as she screamed uncontrollably. I tried to reach out to comfort her, but she scrambled out of bed to turn on the light. "Your face! Scott! What happened to your face?" I noticed the pain. My face felt like it was on fire, despite the rest of my body being in a cold shock. As I tried to get out of bed, I realized my sheets were soaked in blood. My chest was hot, sticky mess and boxers were stained with red. I ran to the bathroom with the sheets stuck to me and discovered for the left side of my face that was split open. 2 deep scratches ran down my hairline to my jaw. By some miracle, the claws had missed my eye, but my face was definitely scarred for life. Christian called an ambulance, and the doctors at the hospital managed to stitch my face back together. Unbelievably, she stayed with me even after the incident, which had horribly scarred me physically and mentally. I finally told her about the knocks that I had been hearing for years and apologized for not telling her sooner. Thanks to her, I finally have an explanation for that terror that had haunted me all these years. She promised that she would stay up whenever the knocks happened again. I cried, overwhelmed at having someone so loving in my life. So Krishna and I had somehow pulled through. There have been a fair number of no-sleep nights over the years, but I have survived. I can constantly feel the beast's anger bubbling on the other side of the surface, and I know it will be absolute terror to see her again. I won't come back alive each night. I pray to God and hope that I won't hear those horrible knocks as I doze off to sleep. Every time I hear someone dying in their sleep, I wonder if it's truly a peaceful death. For me, it is death worse than any other. If you want to ignore the hunger, thirst, or even full bladder as you drift off to sleep, feel free. But whatever you do, don't ever ignore the knocks. Alright, now this story was Don't Ignore the Knocks by Knucklehead. Or Knuklehead, or whatever how you pronounce the name. This creepypasta was actually quite an interesting one. I did spot, this story from Silver Stories as well as Clownable, and yeah, I spotted this story like, from I actually remember Clancy Pasta actually narrated this story, so I thought, you know what, maybe I should go ahead and give this story a read. So here I am. I'm giving this story a go because it's honestly a really good story. Now, it's a pretty good story about Don't Ignore the Knocks. I have a feeling it's paranormal stuff happening, which it could be, why that's the case. So I can definitely say right now that it is a pretty good story. I personally really enjoyed it. So, yeah. I mean, I didn't see anything bad about this story. I do would like to know about, was that whatever that creature was it the one that was causing scratches on the main protagonist of this story? It's most likely the case, but how was Scott able to handle it, without hearing a sound from it or feeling it? I mean, this kind of makes me wonder about that too. So that kind of makes me wonder about that in the story. But other than that, this was actually not a bad story. Definitely not a bad one, but definitely not terrible. So it's definitely a pretty interesting pasta in my eyes. I personally really enjoyed this. This is a pretty good story. I personally really like it. So yeah. Anyways, I guess with that being the case and with that being said, yeah. So it's the offer. Knucklehead or Knuckleshead, whatever you prefer to be called by. Great job with this story. This is actually a pretty awesome story. I really enjoyed it. So, anyways, I guess with that being said and that being the case, I personally don't have anything else to say what I do like about this story or what I don't like. I personally really thought it was a good story. So, yeah. Anyways, what did you guys personally think? Before I get started with that and wrapping up, I'm going to say right now, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. I give this story a 10 out of 10. Great story. It's definitely well made in detail. I personally enjoyed it. It's definitely a good story out there. So, I guess with that being the case and that being said, what did you guys personally think of this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done in person to help make this story a lot better. Feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because I personally would like to hear what you all think. So as always, I am the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you're new to my channel, feel free to leave this video a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. Also, if you're interested in subscribing to my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, link to that will be in the About page section of my channel. If you're also interested in checking out my DeviantArt page and you want to give me a follow on DeviantArt, link to that will be in the About page section of my channel. Also, the same thing could be said for my Twitter account for those who are interested in following me on Twitter. And yeah, all links to those, what I stated, will be in the About page section of my channel, so you guys can go check them out. And as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, please roll the outro because I'm out.